people get through that first layer, that they now encounter this Pisces energy, which is a lot softer than the Aquarius energy. It's a lot more emotionally based than intellectually based, like the Aquarius energy. But in either case, they both, Aquarius and Pisces, deal with more masses and groups, whereas Aries is very much singular in self. So there's a lot of layers of being enmeshed in the masses, and in the groups of people, and in other people's problems, and other people's issues. And the self is kind of waiting in the wings to be dealt with at some point. Okay? And so that takes us to that true self, the Aries, that Sun in Aries. Aries is a very energetic, childlike kind of energy. It represents someone who is, on a soul level, in a more, in a newer round of life cycles. Okay? So they're fresher. There's a freshness to Aries. There is an ability to get into new things and get out of them just as easily. It's a really, like I said, childlike type of energy. It's very fiery, very courageous, almost to a fault, almost from a naive kind of courageousness. But in any case, it is courageous. Okay, and so with all this Aries energy inside of her that really wants to be expressed, really wants to be just able to play and just able to experience new things without any preconceived notions. That's really what Aries is all about, because it's the first sign of the zodiac. There's nothing before it, so there's no preconceived ideas of things. Everything is fresh and new. And so that's how this individual would naturally want to encounter the world. But there are those layers that we talked about that would prevent that true essence from really connecting directly to the world. Instead, there's some layers, like we said, of dealing with other people's things, other people's issues, trying to be intellectual we don't really want to be, or falling into this emotional despair when on the inside it's kind of like, well, what am I doing here? I just want to get going. But almost feeling like because other people are suffering that you almost don't deserve to go experience yourself. And that's what a lot of people with Aries Sun and Pisces Moon can experience, is an inner sense of, I really want to get going, but almost like an outer obligation to the masses that I feel guilty for what I'm about to do, or I'm being selfish, or things like that. And so there's a lot of inner battle when it goes on with that. Other parts of the chart, one thing I want to note is Saturn. Saturn in the 4th house. When people have Saturn in the 4th house, this is the house of foundation and family life, and what we rest on, our security. Okay, so people that have Saturn in the 4th usually have a sort of almost traumatized aspect of security. There's a sense that they have to support themselves, and that really is part of the lesson here, is to get out of this dependency, because like that Pisces Moon is all about a dependency, especially relative to the mother figure. There's a lot of dependency that on an unconscious level of needing a certain level of approval on that end in order to move forward. And so there's that dependency aspect. When people with Saturn in the 4th house have a lifelong mission of becoming more self-sufficient, their own foundation, their own sense of emotional security. Okay, so that takes time, especially the first 30 years or so of life. Then when Saturn returns, Saturn takes 29 and a half years to go around. Once it returns, now that is when actually there's a chance to get into more of a self-sustaining, self-sufficient kind of aspect of being. And so, but not that would be erased after 30 years. It still goes on, but that is usually when there's at least a level, new plateau reached where there is a better sense of self-sufficiency and security. And so that's all I'll talk about for the most part here. I'll just finish it off with a little overview of the chart. One thing I do notice with there's quite a configuration here with Mars and Jupiter in the 12th house, Neptune on the 10th house cusp, with all connected to Pluto and the Sun in Aries. So there is a sense of, when it comes to career direction, okay, there is a lot of confusion. There is a confusion about what should I be doing. And a lot of that comes from this idea of burying the self, because Aries, again, is very entrepreneurial, very I'll do it my way kind of way of being. And it's almost like a sense of obligation, like I'm supposed to be doing something else or whatever it is. And So it makes it confusing to figure out how do I focus my energy when I've been burying my true energy this whole time. How would I be able to focus on something I really want to do? And with Neptune in the 10th and Mars in the 12th, with Jupiter there, there's a sense that working behind the scenes or in a more altruistic kind of aspect might be beneficial. So in some way that where she can use those skills she's learned about understanding group needs and what the masses might need, she could be someone that could benefit the masses in some way. But by using her Aries energy, by using her unique creativity, her unique outlook, and her fresh outlook, with Sun in the second house, where that true energy is focused, this is on resources and values. So here's someone that could definitely be someone that could identify and locate resources for other people, as well as herself. And so the first round, the first step for her would be to form her own security, figure out her own way to make money or resources to support herself. And in that, she could teach other people how to come about resources. She could be someone that could locate certain items and resources for the masses that are in need in some way. That could be a really good outlet for this kind of mix of energy in a lot of ways. But that conflict between Neptune and Saturn in the chart, Neptune in the 10th house and Saturn in the 4th house, there's a real sense that I can't do anything creative unless I'm secure. And so there is a mental block there with Saturn squaring Mercury that, whatever the beliefs are early on, it's hard to get out of those belief systems. But right now, what's going on is an opportunity to expand the mind and to get out of those limiting belief systems that would put things in black and white terms, like security means neglecting myself and doing what I don't like to be secure, and to be creative and out there, I'd have to rely on someone else, or I can't take care of myself, in other words. So that's the inner battle that's going on. But like I said, right now, there are some things that indicate that there is some expansion. Even just a couple of weeks ago,